Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today's lesson is going to be on the notes of the piano keyboard, and we are going to use Soundtrap to figure out all this stuff. So the first thing you have to do is open up the Soundtrap file I have provided you and click right here. When you do that, that is going to open up the piano keyboard, and we could see it's laid out in a certain way. We could see that the bottom is C1, and that's what we want. If you do not see C1, we need to press on the octave arrows, either up or down. Most likely it might be on 2, C2, so you would just go down 1 octave so that you see C1 down here. I'm going to play each one of these notes with my mouse, and we actually hear the tone, which is great. We also see the name of the note, which here it says C1 anyway. But when I click here, I'm going to see the name of the note. The name of the note is D. This is C. It's already here permanently for you. And the rest of the notes, except for the other C's, C2, C3, and C4, this is really the first C in what we call a 61-key keyboard. There's all kinds of different types of keyboards. A piano has 88 keys altogether, and it actually begins on the letter A. The standard keyboards that you would find that people use when they perform or in our own classroom starts with C1, and that is a 61-key keyboard. And most of the other keyboards that you find that you would purchase do start on C. There are 49-key keyboards, and there also are 25-key keyboards that you can purchase. So we're going to begin with the first note. You click on it with your mouse, listen to it. It is C. The next one is D. The next one is E. So the first step is to click on each one of these keys and recite the letters that you're seeing. And the next one is A. So the musical alphabet goes from A to G, then it repeats. A to G. There is no such thing as an H note, an I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, etc. It doesn't exist in music. Underneath here, you will see different letters. Do not get confused. They are there because it's showing you which letter on the typing keyboard you can play to actually trigger and play this C. So these letters here, don't get confused. Don't look at an X and think there's such thing as an X note. There is not. It doesn't exist in music. It's only A through G. That is the musical alphabet. When I click on the first key here with my mouse, it is a C1. I would like you to use your mouse first. We will get to these letters in a second. So go through each white key here and play the notes and recite the letter out loud. So you're going to play it and say B. Play it and say C. This is D, E, F, G, A, not H, A, B. Now C3 is middle C on a standard 61-key keyboard. We call this middle C. Above that is D, E, F, G, again, no H, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I'm only showing what we call, it's really 4 octaves here. We're not quite seeing that note here. An octave consists of 8 notes. An octave in music is 8 notes, from C to C, from D to D. If you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the next note with its same letter name is the 8th note. An octopus has 8 legs. An octagon has 8 sides. An octave in music has 8 notes. Okay, so that's the first step. The second step is to look at these black keys here. Notice the pattern: a set of 2, a set of 3, set of 2, set of 3, set of 2. The entire keyboard will do this. Piano, it doesn't matter if it's a synthesizer or a keyboard, any type of keyboard instrument is laid out this way. There will be a set of 2 black keys, a set of 3. what you find in front of the set of two black keys is a C. And then you could find all the C's. In front of the set of two black keys is a C. In front of the set of two is a C. In front of the set of three is an F. In front of the set of three is an F. I know I'm repeating myself, but repetition is key here for you to remember this. There's another F. So that's the next step. The first step was going through all of the white keys and reciting the names, going through the musical alphabet on whatever key your keyboard starts with. Right now, we're just using the Soundtrap keyboard, but if you have a piano at home, keep in mind that pianos start with an A, unless it is a Bosendorfer Imperial Grand, which has an extra octave, which I believe that also starts with A as well. So that's this first step. The second step is to play and look at this pattern of black keys, the set of two, the set of three, and then play the note in front of the set of two. Play that, and you could find all the C's very quickly. It even continues here. Then the set of three, play all of the F's. That is an F. Play it and recite it. In the middle of the set of two is a D. This is a D. This is also a D. And you could find those D's really quick. In the middle of the set of three black keys is an A. And then play all of the A's. Notice they sound very similar. They are related to each other. They have the same DNA, but they are different. This is a lower A, and that's a higher A. This higher A is vibrating twice as fast. We measure sound in what we call frequency, and those frequencies are vibrating twice as fast, and that's how we're perceiving the sound as higher pitched. We did the middle. We didn't do the one afterwards, I don't think. After the set of two is an E, so find all the E's. And then we need to find after the set of three is a B, so play all of the B's. And that is every single note. There are 12 notes before they start to repeat. 12 notes that are different from each other. If you count them before you get to that next C, there are 12. What you see here is the same thing as here, but it's only what we call an octave higher. So what's really amazing about this is all the music that you hear, that anyone hears in our part of the world, the Western part of the world, is based on these 12 tones. That is it. Every song that you hear on the radio, every song that you hear, whether it's classical, rock, trap, hip-hop, it doesn't matter. It is based off of those 12 tones in our part of the world. What do I mean by that? Well, there are other types of instruments that aren't based on these 12 tones. If you grew up in India, you might hear different tunings on different types of instruments. They have different tuning systems in different parts of the world. But in our Western part of the world, this is what all our music is based off of, these 12 tones. All right, so that is the first step into learning how to play the piano. You have to really identify the names of the notes. Now, since we are working virtual and we are using Soundtrap, which is a great tool, we don't have to have a piano keyboard in front of you. It would help. The piece that I played for you in the beginning of this lesson, I played it from my piano keyboard that is in front of me. And I would not be able to do that on the typing keyboard, but you can play simple melodies. You can play simple bass lines using only the letter keys that are on the keyboard. And I will demonstrate that, and I would like you to do the same exact thing. So now that we're familiar with how these notes are laid out and we're memorizing them as well, let's look at C1 here. I'll play with my mouse. And then if I look at my typing keyboard, now look at your typing keyboard, and you're going to see that since it's at the bottom, it says C1, right? So if we look at our typing keyboard, the Z, letter Z, is all the way at the bottom. If I play that with my typing keyboard, I just did that. You can't see that, but I am triggering that C. If I play an X on my typing keyboard, I'm triggering a D. If I play a C, even though that is part of the musical alphabet, I'm playing an actual E. if I play V, even though there's no such thing as a V in music, on the typing keyboard, it is triggering the F note. So I need you to understand this, and I need you to understand that these letters above are the actual notes. The letters below here, where my mouse is right now, is the typing keyboard note that triggers the real notes. So we do need to learn both of them. Okay, I'm not expecting you to memorize the Z. You don't need to do that. But if I give you an assignment to play a bass line, and I ask you to play the W key and the comma and the letter 1 and the letter 5, I will give you the real notes, and then I'll give you these notes as well, these letters, to trigger the notes. All right, so that is really the next step. I would like you to do that several times just to see how these things interact. And then it jumps up on the black keys. Actually, up here, when we get to C2, I have to play the comma, then the period on the typing keyboard, but I don't play the question mark for this one here. And the backslash, that's what's on my Mac keyboard. I have to play Q, which is on the top row. If I play Q on my typing keyboard, I'm going to get the E note. You should know it's an E by now. The W will get you the F when the C1 is at the bottom. The E will get you the G. The R will get you to play the A. The T will get you to play the B. The Y will get you to play the C3. The U will get you to play the D. The I will get you to play the E. The O will get you to play the F. And the P will get you to play the G. Now, let's look at the black keys. The black keys, what they are what we call sharps and flats. If I'm on a C and I raise it what's called a half step, I can't play any other note in between those pitches. I just played it on my regular keyboard there. You're seeing it up the octave. I can do it down here as well. There's no other pitch I can possibly play in between those notes on the piano unless I have a pitch bend wheel on a synthesizer, and then I could play in between. A guitarist can bend in between the pitches as well and play what we call quarter tones, but these are called a half step. From C to C sharp, a sharp is raised. Notice these notes have two names. The black keys all have two names. It could be also a D flat. Flat is lowered, what's called a half step. Sharp is raised a half step. So if I'm on D and I go up to this note here, it could be called a D sharp, but it also could be called an E flat. It depends on what key we are in. There are sharp keys and there are flat keys. So if I'm on an F and I raise it a half step, there's no other note I can possibly play in between there. That is an F sharp. It's also a G flat. Don't get confused with the typing keys. It's not a B flat, it's a G. It's confusing because these typing keys are showing you what notes will trigger the notes, but the actual note is either an F sharp, and the note will show when you click on it, or a G flat. And just go through those and play them with your mouse to get used to what the names of the notes are. All right. And it's also in the little JPEG that I gave you. So please study that. Now, the S. Again, there's no such thing as an S note in music, but the typing key S, when you have C1 at the bottom here, will trigger the C sharp or the D flat. I'm going to play it from my typing keyboard. There it is. And the typing keyboard, actually, you can trigger this pretty fast. It's very quick. So if you need to play like a 16th note pattern or an 8th note pattern, you can do so with this typing keyboard. So the next note, if I press the letter D, it's a D sharp or an E flat. If I press the letter G, it skips one. It's an F sharp or a G flat. If I press the letter H, I get those notes, and so forth. And just go up, play the notes. Then we got to go up to the 1, the numbers. It skips 1 to get to 3. And that kind of makes sense here because we're not playing these notes with the typing keyboard, especially these keys that are near each other. The number keys, 3, 4, and 5 will get you those notes, 7 and 8. And then the number 0. And that is it. When you move the octave, these things shift. So the letter names, they do change. You need to look at it here and see what notes you want to play. I will give you whatever assignment I give you where you're going to play something. And the first thing that we're going to do is learn about what a bass line is and learn how to play a very, very simple bass line that you're going to do. I will put the real notes in for you, and then I will give you the typing keyboard notes to trigger it. And I will show you how to count as well, because that's very important in doing this. All right, so that is it. So please follow the instructions in the Google document I provided for you. Do this very slowly. Get used to the layout of the keyboard. You would be learning this anyway, whether we are in the building or whether we are working remotely. This is something that we do at our school. We do learn about keyboards and how they're laid out, how to play them as well. And it's all going to go together when you play a bass line and you play a chord progression too. You're going to learn how to do that on the keyboard. So get excited. We're going to do this pretty soon. I want you to do this on your own. I will go over this in class the next time I see all of you. And that's it. So enjoy. See you soon.